The time is 4:30 PM. Pelican Rapids City Council meeting of 8 October 2024 is called to order. I ask those in our council chambers, if you have not signed the clipboard by the back door, if you would please do so when you leave. Also ask everyone to put their cell phones on vibrate. Roll call members. Danielle?
Councilmember Steve Strand.
Here.
Councilmember Kevin Ballard.
Here.
Councilmember Kurt Markgraf.
Here.
Councilmember Steve Foster.
Here.
And Mayor Brent Frazier.
Here. Want to welcome each and every one of you in the council chambers, also those joining us by Zoom. Please remember city council meetings are on the Pelican Rapids YouTube channel and also seen on channel 14 on Wednesday evening. I just have a three announcements. This coming Friday, Saturday is Oktoberfest in Pelican Rapids. That's October 11th and 12th, and many activities going on. Please check the Pelican Press for the various activities. October 16th, 4 p.m. is the next Pelican Rapids Economic Development Authority meeting here at City Hall. And our next City Council meeting is 3 weeks from today on October 29th, 4:30 p.m. here in the City Council chambers. Any other announcements? Any other announcements? Hearing none, if you all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Item number 2 is citizens' comments. Anyone in the council chamber here for citizens' comments if you are not on the agenda? Okay, seeing none. Item number 3, additions, deletions. I have 2 additions. Item number 13 is design intent, bathhouse design. Design intent, bathhouse design. And item 14 is E.L. Peterson Park outlets. Item number 14 is E.L. Peterson Park outlets. Any other additions or deletions?
Move to approve with the 2 additions.
Second. Motion second. Discussion? 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 Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same, motion carried. Item 4 is approval of consent agenda, which I'll read. Item number 4A is approval of council minutes for September 24th, 2024. 4B is approval of accounts payable listing. 4C is intent to certify R760026003190. Amount due is $329.26 for an unpaid utility bill. Item number 4D1 is staff report, the police report, and 4D2 is the financial report, which was handed out to you this evening.
Will you pull 4C?
4C? Yes, we can do that.
And pull D1, please.
And 4D1, okay. So is there a motion to approve the consent agenda with item number 4C and 4D1?
So moved.
I'll move, yeah. Second.
Motion second, discussion, discussion, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same, motion carried. So let's go to item number 4C, intent to certify parcel number with amount due at $329.26.
I look it up on the website. I don't understand what it's for. It says utility bill.
Unpaid utility bills.
Well, I don't.
I'll tell you in just a minute, once I see what property it is. Nothing was included in my packet about it, but.
It's just a field, so I don't get it.
It's a field?
Well, it's Dottie's.
Well, then it's the wrong parcel number.
It's a utility bill that hasn't been paid, a water bill that hasn't been paid.
Yeah, but
Yeah, but it's the wrong
not. I
parcel
looked in
number.
the
It should be
website.
801. Is that what it should be, 801 8th Street?
I don't know who it should be. Oh, yes, it should be 31901.
01?
Yeah,
Okay,
31901,
okay.
Okay.
not the field. Oopsie.
Any other questions regarding that item?
No, I'll look that up then. Thank you.
Okay, we need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Motion second, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same, motion carried. Item number 4D1, police report.
Over to the
I
chief.
believe the chief has something to say.
Mr. Mayor, Council, thank you. You see my monthly report has the normal calls for service. Also, what I'm going to ask the council to do is actually two things. One, to approve the changing of the status of Breanne Brandenberger from full-time to part-time, effective October 19th. She's moving on from Pelican Rapids Police Department. And then the other is to approve the hire of Sam Holmes upon the successful completion of his background and psychological evaluation.
What was the name?
Sam Holmes, Holmes. The reason we're adding it right now is because we're close to being done with the background and the psych, so we might not make it to the next meeting, so it'd be nice to be able to take action on it.
Do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Motion second, discussion?
Is, if Brandenburger's moving on, and she's still gonna be part-time, can you explain that a little bit?
Yep, okay, so it'll be more of a casual part-time. She'll be able to help with, like, right now, we have two other officers that have other full-time jobs. She would just be an additional officer, potentially to be able to pick up shifts. Unfortunately, the schedule that she's moving into is exactly the same schedule she is leaving here. So her availability isn't going to be great, but she'll be able to help pick up vacations, to cover sick leave, stuff like that. So it's kind of what you do with your part-time officers, short of actually having a part-time officer who's scheduled regularly. But in today's market, that's really hard to come by. So you're better off having several officers who are able to pick up shifts, because a lot of times it's last minute, and sometimes you're able to get them covered. Other times you end up not having shifts covered. So.
Okay.
Any more discussion?
Clarify, you're starting Sam Holmes at step one, correct?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Step one.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. Thank you,
Thank you.
Chief. Okay, let's go down to item number 6, continuation of residential new construction tax rebate program. Jordan Grossman, CETA is here, and there was a housing tax rebate application form in our packet. Jordan?
Yeah, I'll just wait for Lance to pull that up so I know what I'm talking about. Okay, good evening. The county for the last few years has been offering a property tax rebate, which is essentially an abatement to anybody within the county, and have partnered with select cities for the city to be able to offer this as well. This is for new construction of single-family or twin-style homes. The county has had an end date all along of the end of this year. So right at the end of December, they plan to end this program, but have spoken up about the opportunity to continue it if a city would like to. So instead of them offering it countywide, and it starts at the county and then it trickles down to the city, and what we would do instead is have somebody fill out a city application, which would be this application with different branding on it, and then the city would approve it, and we would kick it up to the county for them to also approve the program. So the process would be changing, but the principles of it would not. I think it's a great program. We hope to have more residential development in the next few years, and it's a great program for somebody to take advantage of. So you get up to $15,000 or 5 years, whichever one is more attainable, of a property tax abatement for county taxes and city taxes. So I'm just looking for a motion to let the county know that we are interested in them partnering with us moving forward.
Council?
The county still runs the program, though? It'll be all housed out of there, and they have the final decision? Or is that going to fall to somebody else?
That will be the city now. So the city, so what's happening right now before the end of the year is somebody fills out the county form, this form, because it is the county's form. The county will approve it and have a public hearing, and then they'll kick it down to the city and say, hey, we've approved this, now it's your turn. And then then it's ready to go from there. So it's going to be backwards now, where someone would fill out the city form, which will be this, with our information on there. We'll have a public hearing and then kick it up to the county, but it would be the city first. I've chatted with Danielle and Lance about that.
So could potentially the city pass it and the county not?
Potentially, but that has not happened so far. Is like, if you look at it vice versa, with when the county approves something, the city has typically followed suit.
Has it been used a lot?
For the development that has happened in town, which is obviously limited, yes, it has been used. So a builder would apply, and then when they sell their property, it transfers to the new owner.
I move to approve the continuation of the residential new construction tax rebate program.
I'll second that.
Motion second, discussion? 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 Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's go up to item number 5, Planning Commission recommendations. We have 2 items. The first one is fence variance, and there was a application in our packet that went through the Planning Commission. The other one is Ridgecrest lot sale discussion. Lance, do you want to lead the discussion on the first one?
Sure. Excuse me. So this was brought to the Planning Commission, a variance for fence height at 105 First Avenue Northwest. Fence was put up, it was 6 feet high, and technically it is their front yard, so they need a variance because the ordinance states that in the front yard, fences should not be any higher than 42 inches high. So they elected to get a variance for that. They have a special needs kid that they need to kind of keep fenced in. If it was a 42-inch fence, that there would be a risk of that kid being able to get over that fence and things. So that's why they need to keep it at a 6-foot fence. So the Planning Commission went through it and is recommending passing the variance.
Yeah, this is an after-the-fact item, because the fence is
Right.
erected.
Here's just a few pictures of it if you haven't seen it, I guess.
I'll move we approve this variance.
Second.
Motion second. Discussion? 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 Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. Second item, Ridgecrest lot sale discussion. We have Mike Carlson here to make a presentation, I presume. Is that right, Mike?
I don't have much of a presentation. I have an offer,
Okay.
which a presentation could be subsequent if we need to negotiate here at length. Do you have a map handy, or if not, that's no big deal.
I've actually got the I got it somewhere.
Well, So very similar to the project we completed on 10th Avenue Southeast, we're going to move up just to the east a little bit on Ridgecrest, and there's a couple city lots there that are maybe buildable. So my offer is contingent upon making sure that they are. So I can kind of explain a little bit. Yeah, so there's two lots here. There was a wetland delineation completed at the city's expense already. Can't just go build in wetlands. Well, I don't want to bore you, but essentially the likely scenario will be that I'll buy a sliver of this wetland, like I'll purchase a wetland credit, and I'll build just on this side. If it's granted or awarded to me to fill all of it in and build, we certainly might, but that is yet to be determined, I guess. So again, my offer is, it has some contingencies because there's some question marks here whether or not this is viable. But I'm willing, I guess, to head that direction and sure it is or isn't.
Is it currently like an actual wetlands, or do we use it as some type of, it's a basin, a drainage, or?
Well, it's a little bit of a stormwater retention area right now, but all this water flows in a kind of a little low area ditch and goes across Ridgecrest there into the slough. So, I mean, it would be up to Mike not to be sure he's not causing any water issues to any of the neighbors, and making sure that water is still able to flow down to that pipe, but.
To be able to use the whole lot,
Say again?
excuse me, that has to be approved by the county?
Yeah, well, it's a cooperative agreement with state and county, I think.
Okay.
State, county, and city all have to get together and be able to figure out
Okay.
what he can and can't do with that wetland.
So you're talking like wetland credits and all that kind of?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, yep. Which, yeah, we don't know how much that'll be. It's a few $1,000s depending on how much we fill. But
So what are you exactly looking for from us tonight for?
I'm looking for an acceptance of my offer for $1 to buy both lots. And then knowing that the offer is contingent upon a variety of inspections, including this wetland business.
Okay.
And does any of the expense incurred during that inspections, if there are any, incurred expenses, I don't know, are they for you then? Or the city?
Yes and no. So the wetland delineation has already been paid for by the city.
Right.
So that was inspection number one, probably the most expensive. From that point forward, yes, I will take the risk on any expenses.
More homes in Pelican potentially. I would move to approve and accept the $1
I'll second that.
lot bid.
Motion second. Discussion? Discussion? Discussion?
Mike, where's the pipe that'll take the water?
At the road, I don't know.
Down right
That's
there.
right here.
You can see the catch basin there on the east side,
Oh, where's the other end of it?
right across from it.
The rest is just gravity,
Just kind of
natural
a
flow.
low area through here where it,
There's a pipe.
Where that goes under the road. There is
Just a
pipe.
culvert.
There's a culvert that goes under the road,
All
but
right.
nothing back to the west.
Okay, thanks.
What is the lowest section? Do you know off the top of your head?
Yeah, it's going to be right in here. Probably where it's lowest. I mean, it's not a wetland in the way we think of wet.
Right.
There's not
Right.
yearly standing water because there's trees. But it's still wet ground, I guess. And during storms, of course. So yeah, I would be obviously very careful not to cause detriment to neighbors. So, in the event, which is unlikely, we build 2 twin homes, we're going to be really careful that there's some sort of catch back here for runoff. that's not to the detriment of anybody else. Obviously, I don't want to cause a problem like that, so that works against everything I'm doing. Yeah. So the likely scenario is just one twin home.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried.
Thanks.
Thank you.
You want the offer? Sure. I got a bunch of sign here stickies.
Awesome, thanks.
Thanks.
She likes those.
Yeah. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Mike. Go down to item number 14, E.L. Peterson Park outlets. I know we have Coach Doug Bergerman here to speak to this, and Lance is also going to speak to it. I don't know who wants to begin the discussion.
I'll start by just giving you a little history of what's been done here. So last October 10th, 2023 meeting, the council approved the wiring and stuff for the suspension bridge, which was close to, well, a little over $3,900. The following meeting on October 31st, 2023, we approved the putting in all the outlets with the, on the Peterson Park, on the north side of the new walking bridge in the Sharon Park, or Peterson Park area by the shelter and all that stuff, and that was right around $5,000. So on the south side by Pelican Pete, Otter Tail Power ended up putting in some conduit and stuff on that side as well. I've actually got a picture here. So we got an estimate from Todd to put in wire and outlets on both of these light posts as well, tie in here. So we didn't really do any of this last year just because we didn't really have a place to tie into any power or anything. But now they placed their transformer right there. We can put a meter ped there. The estimate is about $1,500. Got it right. A little over $1,506.79. So the kicker is, so over $8,900 was already approved to do this project. The suspension bridge is going to be much less than this $3,900 because originally there was 10 outlets and all this. We reduced it down to 3 outlets, I believe, one on each end and one in the middle. Todd is thinking that's only going to be a total of $1,000, $1,500 rather than that $3,900. So we've already approved a total amount. This amount will not exceed that approved amount. We're still going to be under that amount. So we just kind of want to get approval to move some of that money to use over to the south side of the bridge and finish up for the Pete Park area, or the Pelican Pete area.
Did we get approval for the conduit? And I know we ran that extra conduit. Did we get that approved here last?
So Otter Tail Power,
They ran, I had them as part of their donation to Peteyville last year, run it for us instead.
they provided all that conduit and interduct, yep.
Yeah, so I was thinking that that's another saved expense from last year that I was able to work with Otter Tail Power to run instead of coming.
Yeah, and we weren't really expecting them to do it on the Pelican Pete side at all.
Yeah,
And they did, and they didn't charge anything, so we want to take advantage of it and get power over there and make it easier to light Pete up, so.
Yeah, that's definitely a big part of it. I mean, if we're going to have Peteyville, it'd be nice to, he's the highlight for sure. Otherwise, what we did last year was we had to tap into the high rise to get power over to that side of the bridge. So ultimately, yeah, it'd be a huge bonus for us to have power over there.
What I'm hearing, though, is really there is no added expense.
Shouldn't be any added expense.
No.
It should be actually still less than what was already approved for this whole project.
Should be.
Should be.
It's like a pool.
Yeah.
Brian, do you have anything to add?
I move to move the money around.
I'll second.
Are 3 outlets enough, Doug, on the?
Yeah, that would be plenty because we just need to spotlight Pelican Pete, put the lights around that. We were able to do it with the one outlet that we ran the 100
I mean,
foot.
on the suspension bridge, are 3 outlets enough on?
Yeah, we got it to a point where that would be good. As we move into Sharon Park, for the most part, we got pretty good. We just went there right before I came here. Pretty good electricity on the outside because of the campgrounds and stuff like that. There are a few areas that at some point, maybe next year after we continue to expand, that might come and see if we can make another dig and drive to get to those spots. But for this year, this is really the only thing that we're asking.
Okay, we have a motion, second. Discussion? 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 Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried.
All right, appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right.
Let's go to item number 8, Pelican Rapids Aquatic Center, Hammers Construction. We're looking at a change request number 13 and a pay request number 14. Those items of information were in our packet. Lance, do you want to speak to both of those, please?
Sure. Let's start with the change request. Okay, this stems from the trench drains on the deck. So they basically ended up having to install basically twice as much of the deck drains as they were originally thought. Excuse me. So the thing was, MDH has one set of rules and the Department of Labor and Industry has another set. Everything was designed to have an 1/8 inch, no more than an 1/8 inch drop per foot. And in order really to make that happen and make the concrete contractor happy, they ended up having to put in a bunch more of these deck drains to make dang sure that the whole deck is going to drain. If there was any kind of puddling anywhere, they were going to make them tear it up and things like that. So basically, design intent added a bunch more deck drains, and it ended up to be an increased cost of $21,719.31. So.
I have a problem with that. That's a lot of money. And we paid for them to quote, build it.
Architect should have figured out.
I mean, in my world, you quote on something and if you screwed up, it's your cost. I mean, that's a lot.
I mean, this is getting stupid. I mean,
That's
this is
a lot of money.
3 meetings and 3 change requests.
Well, Scott will be here next meeting, so if you're not comfortable with it, we can table it until Scott is here and he can explain it a little better than I can, I'm sure. Or defend himself, or...
You explained it well. I think the hangup is, even when I do bids, if we're off, we're off.
Yeah, you eat it.
I mean, but it's just the fact that you would think if we're having it designed by architects that understand this stuff, that why is it a surprise? I don't understand that.
The big issue was the concrete. Basically, the concrete guys were not going to pour it unless they got more deck drains. So basically, design intent.
Concrete guy should pay for it. I'm not comfortable with approving this until we can.
I'll move we postpone it till the next meeting.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion? Discussion?
Lance, will you explain more about the concrete business? Why did they have a problem?
Well, in order to get their proper drainage, I mean, they were going to have longer spans to the deck drains, so it would just make it much more of a challenge to make sure everything is going to be draining correctly. This way, the added deck drains, there was shorter runs, I believe, from what I understand. Anything else to add to that? I don't.
If there's any ponding of water anywhere, we cannot, they won't get a license. They won't give us, the state of Minnesota will not give us a license. So the way it was, they couldn't get that slope without removing the ones from the south end and bringing them around to the north end and extending them out so they can pour and get their proper slopes, so everything would go to these drains and out.
So they didn't know about this factor till it was time to do it?
I'm not sure on that. I'm not sure on that, but that's the way I understood it.
Well, it'd be good to have Scott here and explain more exactly what happened with it. He tried to lay it out how it went down, but
I mean, obviously, the concrete guy understood the slopes and voiced his opinion that it was wrong. So somebody figured out sloping and fill and grade and all that to pour the deck. It wasn't right.
well, I think the way the architect designed it and everything, it was, in their mind, it's possible for everything to work out. And the contractors and the architects don't always agree. Contractors looking at it like it would be very, very difficult to pour it and get everything to drain correctly the way they had it designed. This just made it much easier for the contractor to make certain that everything was going to drain. So, but Scott can definitely talk more on it.
You have a photo you could show? I'm still not sure what we're.
I don't have anything.
Let me see if there's one in here.
I'm not sure which.
There was not a photo of that area at the,
It's probably so minor, you wouldn't be able to just see it off the picture
Probably.
anyway.
Yeah.
You would need transit lines. And
I'm not sure which area we're talking about yet.
It's the pool deck,
The whole
the entire
pool deck.
pool, the deck around the pool. All the concrete around the pool area.
Okay, any more discussion? If not, all in favor of postponing this till the next council meeting, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. Next item is pay request number 14, which was in our packet.
All right, so the architect went through this is all the work done and the request made here, and everything is pretty straightforward. It's just paying for everything that has been done thus far, so I don't know if there's any questions or. They're getting right down, did you say they filled it last week and it's?
Is the drainage things we just talked about in this
I'll
total?
give you a touch of update.
I didn't see him, I was just looking.
I don't know, I don't think they'd bill anything until the change request itself is approved and things, so no.
I move to approve pay request 14.
Second. Motion second, discussion? 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 Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same, motion carried. Thank you, Lance. Item number 9 is Street and Parks Report. Superintendent Brian Olson's here. He also, we're going to speak to a resolution after we hear his report.
Yes. My musky report, as Kevin calls it. Basically, this last month, hydrant flushing went very well. Was pretty impressed with, I was a little bit nervous after last spring, kind of jumping around, not doing all the hydrants with the construction and temporary water. I was a little bit nervous, especially when we got in that south end, but actually, I thought the water looked pretty good, and the guys didn't have any complaints either. There was no real concerns throughout the system this time, so that was a bonus. So jetting is also complete for the season. There again, there was nothing really alarming about it. So could tell the new pipe coming down Main Street is all PVC, so it made it a lot cleaner. Didn't have to worry about losing our jetter head in a cracked pipe or whatever might have been under there, so that was good. Yes, fall sweeping has begun. We'll be sweeping a lot, trying to stay ahead of the leaves, so if you see the street sweeper, it's and all the dust that goes with it. We do have water on, but it's super dusty right now, and there's just can't get enough water on it, so that's about it. Pinewood Development has started construction. They started digging in the sanitary sewer line just on the east side of Thompson Field. So if you look down there and see a bunch of equipment and mounds of dirt, they'll bring the sanitary sewer up first, and then they'll come back and install the water and storm sewer. So the sanitary is coming up from the south and then going to go east. The water is going to be coming from the east by the twin homes, or townhomes over here, and that will come across 3rd Street. So, and then they'll bring that down into the cul-de-sac, and it'll be a dead end for right now. So that's, they started there yesterday, and then they've, obviously, today they didn't do a whole lot. They went back, they had a couple services to hook up on 108 East before they can move on. So tomorrow they'll be back over here continuing, so. Parks, again, have still been fairly quiet this later summer, fall. This will be our last weekend. We'll be open. We'll start winterizing the bathhouse next week. So we will keep the electricity on in the parks, just because with their plans for Peteyville going over there, we'll need that. So, so yes, the pool, the top discussion here, they did fill it last week. It's getting to be a long project. I got a call this morning from the pool guys looking for a Vactron because evidently when they installed the fence, they poked through another one of their lines, their pressure lines. So they have to dig that up. And so yes, it's a project, but hopefully they're going to still train us on it this year, and it'll be complete. But that's where they're at. That's the newest and greatest thing I got this morning at a little after 7. So,
What did they puncture?
One of the lines, water lines that feeds the pool, somewhere along the line, and it's quite.
They got to dig up the cement.
So they've got to do some. They got to go down and find this. Yes, it's
Not through the cement, though.
What's that?
Through the cement?
Yeah, because the fence is poured into the concrete slab. So, and it's very frustrating because this actually is the second time this has happened, and they've all known. You know, they were all there. They all have the plans, but it's just how it's gone. So, we're going to get this project over, and we're going to have another pool until well after I retire. I promise, because I'm not building another one.
So for the most part, there was as much water in the pool this morning as there was last night?
Yeah. Didn't seem like they lost it. I think they were able to close that valve, so. But
Already a step up from the old pool.
right, we're already moving forward. We just got to take this stuff with a grain of salt and move on, and one day we'll have a pool open. Even if it's next July, we'll have a pool. So that's pretty much what I got. Anybody have any questions?
If not, is there a motion to approve Brian's?
So moved.
Second?
Sure.
Brian, I have a
Just
question.
discussion?
I have a quick question, if I might. So who will pay for the construction associated with digging up the concrete?
Not us. Not us. That's going to be between the contractors. Yeah. So.
Discussion?
Skarbowski report, that was pretty good.
Good.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same, motion carried. He also has a resolution number 2014-15 regarding a winter maintenance agreement.
Yep, it's just, again, we do this each and every fall. We sign a resolution, so we're able, if we run out of sand salt, we're able to buy up to 100 yards from the county at their listed price of $31.70 per ton. So right now,
How do
What's
those
that?
prices compare to last year?
I'd have to go back and look. I didn't look at what they had last year, but we didn't hardly use any, so we're still full from last year. Hopefully it'll get us through, is what my goal is, but if, this is just in case, kind of a security that we
Right.
do this every year, so.
Move to approve resolution 2024-15.
I'll second that.
Motion second, discussion?
How much salt do they put in a ton of sand?
It is about a 10% mix, so I can't remember how many yards is a ton, but it's about a 10% mix that they put in.
200 pounds to 2,000.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
Okay.
Any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same, motion carried. Stay there, Brian. Let's go to item number 13, design intent bathhouse design. Lance and Brian
That's
going to talk about that?
Yep, Lance can speak to that.
All right, so we had talked to Scott just to give us an idea what it's going to take to get a new bathhouse, and this is their proposal to get all the design done and get it ready to put out for bid, which would include a architectural estimate for construction as well. So to do all that will cost $26,750. So really, I mean, if the council is wanting this to happen one day, we're going to have to do this at some point to know how much this bathhouse is going to cost us. I mean,
It'll cost more the next time we visit it if
Well,
it takes it.
Oh, definitely.
so my thought was, we have that Otter Tail County Trail Fund that we're using there were 300-some thousand in that account. We're using 150 of that for the trailhead building, for our payments for that over the 5 years, which adds up to 150,000. So there's a little over 150,000 in that account right now. If we wanted to move forward with this, I think we could use that at least to get to this point, and then we'd have a number and we'd know, because that is a priority in the park, it seems. So that's an option. It's up to you if you want to move forward with anything right now, or
Brian, any comments?
I just think that it's a good, we've got to start somewhere if we're going to move on with the bathhouse up there. Even if it's a couple of years from now, at least we have something we can look at, we can shoot for, so.
Council?
But if we do this and don't go forward with it, if we go with our same logic that we always apply to everything, it'll never be cheaper. What good is it to not go forward with the project after we bid it? Because in 2 years, it'll be twice the cost.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, that's what we do, but at least we know,
Right.
even if it's a 3% increase in 2 years, or whatever, at least we know what what we're looking at.
And the design would already be done.
Right.
Provided it didn't change, the design itself.
And the slopes for drainage.
Right.
No, this one's going to drain.
It's got a flush handle if I remember right.
Right.
Well, I move that we go forward with design intents estimate and take the funds out of that trail ed fund.
I'll second.
Motion second, discussion? Discussion? Discussion?
It seems like it's an awfully lot of money, $26,750 to design a bathroom.
Yeah. Give me a notepad and a pen, and I'll go down there for half that.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. Thank you, Brian.
Thanks.
Now let's jump up to item number 7, library report. And We usually just present these as information, but tonight there's going to be some action taking, so I know we have to make at least one motion. And Lance, do you want to lead a discussion on this? Kevin, you're here also, you were at the meeting.
Yeah, but I don't know what we're talking about, so.
Well, we'll just have to approve the hire of the 2 part-time sub employees. The other names.
Yeah, Elizabeth Brooks and Ruth Holmgren at $15 an hour. And then I also would like to approve their accounts payable list, which was just handed out tonight since the meeting was last night. I didn't get it in the packet. That's the only 2 things I need.
Who were the hirees? Ruth?
Ruth Holmgren and Elizabeth Brooks.
I'll move we approve the hiring of Ruth and Elizabeth.
Second.
Motion second, discussion? Discussion?
There are several of us at the meeting last night. These are I don't know what the correct term is, fill-in people for the library to give them some assistance when till the director's filled. They're not permanent full-time people or part-time people, it's just kind of a fill-in.
Any other discussion?
How many hours are we approving?
It's up to 20, wasn't it?
There was never
no, yeah,
a number discussed.
I thought we talked about it.
Nanette she didn't really think they would be used that often. They're, like Steve said, they're just substitutes if they should need somebody to help with a shift or fill in on a shift. They're not.
So they're kind of like an on-call.
Correct.
Yeah.
Oh,
They're
really?
on call.
Okay. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. Lance, anything?
I also need a motion to approve so I can pay the library bills.
Oh, okay.
I'll move we pay the library bill.
Second.
Motion second, discussion, discussion, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. Anything else from the library?
There was a search committee is set, the interview committee is set. We posted the library director position today. It's open until November 1st. Open to do interviews second, third weekend of November, somewhere in there, so, and they have a director in place by January 1. That's the plan.
That's the goal.
Any other discussion from anyone? If not, we'll move on. Okay, let's move on to item number 10, administrator report. Lance?
All right, since the last meeting, worked with clerk and mayor to set the council agenda and prep for the city council meeting. Attended the Highway 59, 108 construction meetings and open houses. Attended a pool construction meeting. Met with the outgoing library director for the final time. Attended a Pinewood Estates construction meeting. Attended a planning commission meeting. Attended a special meeting and a regular meeting of the library board. Jordan and I created a job posting for the library director position. Posted the open library director position on MetroNet job line, Mountain Plains Library Association job line, and the League of Minnesota Cities job posting site. Attended a supervisor training with all the department heads that was put on by the village EAP about motivating and engaging employees. Met with Otter Tail Power and Grove Lake Electric about lights and outlets in the park. Worked with Kutak Rock and the PFA to finalize the PFA funding for the 108-59 project. Attended an Otter Tail County Community Check-in meeting. Met with VC3 representatives about technology needs. Met with the city engineer and MnDOT representatives about the feasibility of the proposed Highway 59 underpass by the schools. Met with Tessa Nord from the post office and was able to drop off the keys, as the CBUs are not the city's responsibility, and met with my mentor group. Any questions?
What's the highway department saying about this 59 underpass?
So we just met yesterday with a bunch of the MnDOT people. Bob from Apex was there, of course, and he was asking questions. He was hoping that they would kind of take on some planning or not planning, but some design of this just to see if it's feasible or not. They were not really willing to do that. So actually Apex Engineering is good enough. They're going to take it on themselves and not charge us anything. There's two big factors. It's the sanitary sewer that's running through there. If we have enough clearance over that and not have to disturb that and put in a lift station or something like that, which would add even more cost. That's one big factor. And then the drainage on the bottom of the tunnel itself, to be sure that that would be enough so that you'd have drainage and you wouldn't have to pump anything out of that as well. So he was going to look into those two things. He was going to do some preliminary stuff and get some of the surveying stuff from MnDOT and look into those two things. And if either of those two things are not feasible, then we're going to scrap it altogether. It's just not going to be done. There's so many different factors into this thing, whether it can happen or not, but those are the two big ones. So he was just going to initially look into that with no cost to the city, and after that we'll go from there. So that's where it's at.
Any other questions for Lance? Thank you. Item number 11, mayor report. Just a few items in the last couple of weeks. Attended a 2024 Complete Streets staff meeting here at City Hall. Also facilitated a Complete Streets public meeting at the library. Conducted a conversations with the mayor at the library on September 26th. Also attended the farewell party for Annie Rigg at the library that same day. Met yesterday with Administrator Royson to plan the council agenda for this afternoon, then also attended that same Zoom meeting regarding the Highway 59 underpass yesterday here at City Hall. Any questions?
Thank you.
Probably more, I guess more for Lance, and are they expecting the 108's portion to be buttoned up by end of October also, or no?
Yeah, they're
East?
Well, both 108's, like in front of the VF. And,
Yeah, they do.
And then out in front of
Yeah.
the clinic, that will all be buttoned up by?
Right. That's the plan. Weather holds up. Okay, seeing no other business, motion adjourned. Second?
Second.
Motion second, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Meeting adjourned. Thank you. 3 weeks till the next one.